Imagine a world without phones, without email, without even a telegraph. Now imagine trying to rule an empire stretching from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe in the early 1200s. This was the challenge Genghis Khan faced. But here's the secret weapon that made his empire not just vast, but surprisingly connected: the Mongol postal system. The Mongol Empire, officially founded by Genghis Khan in 1206, became the largest contiguous empire in history. By the mid-13th century, it stretched across Asia, parts of the Middle East, and Eastern Europe, covering more than 9 million square miles. With such vast distances, communication could easily take months if there wasn't an efficient system in place. And this is where the Mongol postal system, known as the Yam, became indispensable. To solve this massive communication challenge, the Mongols created the Yam, a state-run relay postal system. Imagine a network of stations every 25 to 30 miles, each staffed with fresh horses and riders ready to carry messages across the empire. The system was set up in a way that couriers could travel hundreds of miles in a single day, faster than any system in the known world at the time. Each station, or urtu, wasn't just a stop. It was a hub for rest, food, and fresh horses. It was a well-oiled machine that could quickly mobilize and relay messages for officials, merchants, and even spies. The system was brilliantly simple, yet incredibly efficient. Relay stations were strategically spaced along major trade routes. Mounted couriers carried official messages or decrees. Parchment tablets or scrolls were securely tied or placed in pouches. But here's where it gets even more interesting. These couriers didn't just gallop blindly across the steppe. They had maps, local guides, and knowledge to avoid bandits and natural hazards. Some routes allowed messages to travel 200 to 300 miles in a single day, a feat that Europe wouldn't achieve until the 19th century. The Yam wasn't just about delivering letters. It was about delivering power, governance. Mongol administrators could issue orders across continents within days. Trade. Merchants coordinated along the Silk Road, relying on the system for reliable transport. Intelligence, scouts, and spies could relay vital information quickly, making the Mongol military highly responsive. European travelers like Marco Polo marveled at the system. He described messengers who could ride vast distances without tiring, thanks to fresh horses waiting at every station. Let's talk numbers. A standard courier could travel 30 to 40 miles in just a few hours. With the relay system, messages could travel 200 to 300 miles in a single day. In comparison, Europe's postal services in the 13th century were much slower, sometimes taking weeks for messages to travel only a few hundred miles. This incredible speed gave the Mongols a strategic advantage, allowing them to coordinate armies, suppress rebellions, and keep trade routes moving efficiently. The Yam was surprisingly secure. The Paisa badges ensured that messengers were recognized and protected. Strict penalties were in place for tampering or intercepting messages. Local communities along the routes were incentivized to support the system, sometimes receiving supplies in exchange for safe passage. It wasn't just fast, it was reliable. And in an empire where a single delay could cost lives or territory, reliability was crucial. The Yam system didn't disappear after the fall of the Mongol Empire. Instead, it influenced postal systems in Russia, Persia, and Europe. Some historians argue that it laid the groundwork for modern courier and communication networks. Essentially, the Mongols weren't just conquerors. They were early innovators in logistics and information management. Here are some fascinating tidbits about the Mongol postal system. Mongol couriers often traveled alone, but they were always prepared for combat if attacked. Horses were sometimes swapped multiple times per day, ensuring messages never slowed down. The American Pony Express echoed the Mongol system centuries later. It's incredible to think that an empire built on horseback could outpace much of the medieval world in communication. So, next time you send an email, think of the Mongols, a vast empire, a network of thousands of horses and riders, connecting people and ideas faster than anyone could imagine. The Yam system wasn't just about letters. It was about power, trade, and survival. It shows that innovation doesn't always come from technology. Sometimes it comes from organization, strategy, and a few thousand horses. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed this story about history's fastest postal network, subscribe for more fascinating glimpses into the past.